Thanks, Rance. You know what? He's working so hard out there that maybe he should come in and have some whiskey or something like that just to ease him up a little bit. Well, Father's Day is right around the corner, and St. Augustine Distillery, they have a ton of great ideas for dear old dad. Philip McDaniel is back to walk us through what's new at the distillery and also to give us an education on where that flavor comes from.
Absolutely. Thanks, Mark. Thanks for having us. We're really excited to be here, and lots of things happen at the distillery. As you know, recently you've been down. We have a really great experience for dads out there who like their bourbon, where they actually can come in and fill their own bottle. It's called a Fill Your Own. I think you guys were just recently down. That's really, really exciting. And that's the first time we've ever had an experience where guests can come in and actually take the time and fill their own bottles. They get to write their label and do all that.
I love that. And we have some video of that too. It really is a remarkable experience because you're a part of the process, even by like logging in the information and the proof and all that type of stuff. That's the part that I thought was so cool. It makes it official. There I am putting on the decals, and that bottle is beautiful. And we talk about that when it comes to gifts for dad. An experience that's the thing that you remember. And with this, it's the experience, but then you could also take something home. So again, if you're looking for a creative gift, that is great. Another thing I want to talk about too is the new product out there, a stone's throw.
Absolutely, yeah. So one of our favorite things about the business is we get to create these wonderful local partnerships. And probably our oldest and most appreciated partner is San Sebastian Winery. There, for anybody who knows St. Augustine and the distillery, we're literally 2 blocks apart. And we have, if you've seen before, we've done the port finished bourbon, and that's a wonderful experience. But in the case of this product, Stone's Throw, we actually, for our first time, took our rum, new make rum that came off the still, and then we aged it in port wine barrels that the winery had given us. So what's really, really cool is we call the product Stone's Throw because literally the building is a stone's throw away, and that's kind of why we came up with that name. But this is actually the bottle that the port wine that San Sebastian makes. So we give them our used bourbon barrels. They then fill those barrels with port wine. A year later, we get those barrels back, and we can either make bourbon, which we've done for many years, and now for the first time, the rum.
That is really interesting. And then let's talk about the barrels. So you have with us here kind of different stages, if you will, of them. What percentage of the flavor comes from this?
Yeah, that's a great question, Mark. Experts say somewhere between 60 to maybe 70% of the flavor comes from the wood. And the way that happens is, when barrels are made, when spirit comes off the still, it's the color of water, it's clear. But what kind of makes bourbon and whiskey, and specifically bourbon, very special is you start with new oak. This oak actually is cut from a white oak tree in the United States. Quercus albus is the original, the correct scientific name for it. And then what they'll do is they'll actually let these staves sit out in the open for anywhere up to 2 to 3 years. All the elements and the green notes come out, and then the cooperage, who we use there in Kentucky, they'll take those, they'll soak them, and then they actually bend the wood so it kind of looks like this in this shape. But then really the magic happens when they take these staves and then they toast them in a very high heat oven, and then beyond that they char it. And I'll let you hold this, but this is actually a finished charred stave. And so this is from one of our barrels, and basically you can see that it's very, very dark and black. These staves will be toasted anywhere from 45 seconds to 4 minutes. The longer that charring happens, rather, the more intense and the deeper it goes into the wood. So if you've ever looked at a bottle of bourbon versus a bottle of scotch, the reason why bourbon has such dark, rich color is it's aged in a new oak barrel, and it's getting a lot of those colors and notes from the wood.
Just the process of the barreling takes years.
Absolutely.
And that's not even the part where you're making the bourbon, where it's sitting in there for a while.
Absolutely, yeah. So the cooperage process is an entirely different science. We'd love to have you come down and maybe do something a little more detailed, but it's a really complex process. But about 60% of the flavor comes from the barrel, 40% comes from the grain and the mash bill. And bourbon, we've made the first bourbon in Florida. We're really proud of it. And now we're doing all these unique finishes with it. It's pretty special.
And if people want to learn more, what's the best route? How can they contact?
Well, the first thing is to go to the website. You can learn a lot. We've got great content there. But really, the best thing we say is come to the distillery. Next time you're down in St. Augustine, take a visit and just come and experience.
All right. Again, a great gift idea for Dad, either buying the products or just being there and being a part of the magic. Speaking of magic, I see that you have a little pour for us here.
It's Friday.
Yeah.
We should be doing this on this day, but anyway, cheers. Thank you.
Cheers. And happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. Right now we're going to send it to Eden.